Thanks for watching the Council in Brief. I'm Susan Kenedy. We're here with the latest news of the Montgomery County Council. Up first, county officials have ordered the inspection of every unit at the Enclave apartment complex in Silver Spring. This after numerous code violations had been uncovered recently. Last September, the county's Department of Housing and Community Affairs inspected 262 of the 1,119 units at the Enclave apartment complex in Silver Spring. There were 367 violations, which prompted county officials to step up those inspections to check every unit at the complex.
So this is the area that we were discussing.
Raul Ratcliffe has lived at the Enclave for 4 years. His neighbor and friend Debbie for more than a decade. When visiting her last fall, he noticed mold along the wall and baseboard. When he pulled back the carpet, more mold. That's when they called the management company for help, but the response was marginal at best.
The tenant here was told that the padding was replaced and that the mold was treated. And as you can see, the carpet and the mold still in the carpet. You can see even further in the wood. This is something that's been causing a lot of respiratory issues for the tenant and for her granddaughter.
The list of violations at the Enclave range from mold to rat infestation, broken appliances, leaking sinks, chipping paint, and a lack of smoke detectors.
Anybody who's in an apartment full of mold like this should be relocated to a...
Councilmember Tom Hucker represents the residents who live at the Enclave. After the initial inspection last year, he wrote the county's Department of Housing and Community Affairs asking that all the apartments at the Enclave be inspected. County Executive Mark Elrich has now backed up that request.
I'm very grateful to the county exec that he ordered the housing department to make all these inspections. We're going to look at those reports and tabulate all those violations, and then they're going to have a conversation with the management company about remediating them. As Raul was explaining, the management company has a very bad history of just doing superficial, first ignoring the problem, and then once they respond, doing just superficial repairs. I'm going to do everything I can to push the housing department and the county executive to really crack down on these folks and find them and make sure they bring this place up to code.
Last year, there were 118 complaints about conditions at the apartments compared with 41 between the years 2014 and 2018. Officials attribute that surge to a new bill implemented last year that steps up inspections of multifamily apartments.
We're working with the Montgomery County Renters Alliance, which the county helped set up and helps to fund, to give renters an organized voice, because Raul or Debbie, the owner of this apartment, tenant in this apartment, don't have that much clout by themselves against a huge management company with hundreds of properties. What they have is, if we can help them build a collective voice, they're going to get their issues addressed much sooner.
Raul Ratcliffe and other residents of the Enclave say they are not looking to create conflict. They just want to live in a safe, healthy environment.
This is about how do we repair what's been going on? How do we become more engaged and help you do a better job? Because we live here. We have the incentive to want to be involved, to do things, to make things better.
To learn more about your rights as a renter, call 311. In other news, the council is back from its winter recess with a full agenda, including the introduction of the first bill of the new year by councilmember Will Jawando. The measure would require an independent investigation in the case of an officer-involved death.
We have a great law enforcement community that are doing great work, but when you have these unfortunate tragedies like the case of Robert White, when someone's unarmed black man is killed, anyone, but killed in our community by a police officer, it's important, if you're going to maintain that trust, that people have confidence that there's an independent investigation. You shouldn't be investigating yourself, and that's the first thing in this bill. Right now, when Montgomery County Police respond to these incidences, they are the ones talking to witnesses. They're the ones processing the evidence. So we need to remove the opportunity for bias or even the perception, and that's important. And then the second part is, after a decision is made whether to prosecute or not, that there's a report that's given to the public to say why. Because people have questions about what happened and why. And so independence and transparency are the key tenets here.
Well, that does it for this edition of the Council in Brief. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kenedy.